All right. Happy Thursday night, everybody. We say good evening and hello to all you fine folks out there who are West Texans and everybody else who wishes you were. I'm trying to kind of mix it up a little bit, but you know what we're doing. All right. We got a lot of stuff going on tonight on the daily broadcast. It is Thursday, which means tomorrow's Friday. We have telegraphed and told you via the 60 seconds of Raiderland commentary today one of the major topics tonight, which would be what if Texas Tech never hired Cliff Kingsbury as head coach? How different would things be at Texas Tech today? It was posed to me by a listener, Robert C. Shout out Robert C. And I thought it was interesting enough, and I love alt history enough. I said, all right, let's go down that rabbit hole this week. We got time. Cincinnati, coming up this weekend. We can talk more about the game tomorrow, our predictions. So we'll throw it out there tonight. What happens? What is the ultimate history if Cliff Kingsbury is never head coach at Texas Tech? We have that going on tonight. A lot of football. Otherwise, anything else that's on your mind, whatever you want to do, Cowboys in action. We want to hear from you tonight in the Arctic Air Studios. Got a little warm today, really did. In fact, the Arctic Air kicking on right now in the studios, and I'm ready for fall. So let's have a good time tonight. Get your comments in. Thanks to United Supermarkets and Market Street, whether you were on Twitter X, whether you're on YouTube or Facebook. And we hope you guys subscribe to all of our platforms. And then watch however you want to engage. Because thanks to United Supermarkets, who, kicks money back into the community and Texas Tech as opposed to another grocery store chain around here. You can do that. All right, in 3, in 2. Good evening, West Texans, all you good, fine, friendly folks out there who wish you were. I'm Ryan Hyatt, theraiderland.com. You started your day there on the website, checking out the hot links, cool stuff from around the web. We bring it to you every day. You saw what we were going to talk about for the most part, and off we go. Brought to you tonight by Domino's Pizza, Thursday night football, NFL football, Cowboys football. You need pizza, you want pizza, you got the app. You get online, Domino's.com. You get pizza. Maybe you're still in town right now, wherever you may be watching it. Heck, you can pick it up on the way home. It's awesome. It's great pizza. I highly recommend, and you guys know that I'm a huge thin crust kind of guy. The New York style is a close second to me now on the thin crust. In fact, last 2 times I've got Domino's Pizza, I've got the New York style. It's really good. In fact, it's better than New York style. Don't tell anybody. So I've been to New York a couple of times, a few times, more than a few times. Philly pizza's better. Don't tell anybody. But this is great stuff at Domino's.com. Also by Charles Middleton and Son Realty, Farm and Ranch. You buying, you selling in West Texas. It starts with them. Nobody does it better. I highly recommend it. If you're looking for a cool place in West Texas, you want your own little place in West Texas, being the best Texas, you call Middleton and Son. You get them on the phone. You go to the website, check it out, and you go, yeah, this is good. Now, if you happen to be selling, and there are a lot of people out there right now that are selling parcels of land, doing different things in West Texas, don't waste your time with anybody else out there. Go with the best, Middleton and Son. All right, all the Western wear we wear, There's like a song in there, I think. Boot City, One Money, 7 Mile outside the West Loop on 19th Street. All right, so let's get you in tonight. Get your comments rolling in. It's Thursday. We got Tech football to talk about. We got Cowboys. Cowboys are going to win tonight, but it's going to be close. 3 points. Field goal win tonight by the Cowboys. That's my call. Everybody, all the bets, percentage-wise, are on the Cowboys, and a lot of the money is on the Cowboys. And when I see everybody thinking the same thing, forgive me, I run the other way. Contrarian 100% on this. What do the books need? Well, the books need the Giants. Okay. Might be wrong. Just remember I said it tomorrow morning, later on tonight. Remember we said it. All right, so here's the alt history question that was posed by Robert C., a friend of mine, great contributor to the site. You guys can comment on all of our stuff, theraiderland.com. You can get in right now. What if Cliff Kingsbury never coached, was never the head coach at Texas Tech? Now, I'm not trying to parse my words, all right? But it's important to say we're saying he was never the head coach at Texas Tech, that in 2013, Kirby Hocutt doesn't get steamrolled by Kent Hance and everybody else after coming in and being a new athletic director and being told this is who you're going to hire. What is the outgrowth of not having Cliff Kingsbury as your head coach at that time? Now, the point that Robert C. was making on our website in the comments section, theraiderland.com, you can comment on all of our stuff, was if you don't have Cliff, you don't have Patrick Mahomes. If you don't have Patrick Mahomes, you don't have Adidas, you don't have a lot of stuff. Now, we go the alt history route. Does it stand to reason that that would be the case? I'm willing to consider your evidence. I'm willing to consider your thoughts. I have my own thoughts on that. We'll find out what you're thinking. Michael is out there on Facebook. And let's see. And I ask this question every day, Michael. We're live now? The hell are we doing here? What are we doing? I don't know. Grab. Everybody grabbing, nobody tackling. Alan jumps in. Tech would have hired Chad Morris in 2013 if Kingsbury never comes to Tech. Sonny Dykes had already taken the Cal job at that point. All right, so, and Alan is a smart, erudite person. I have the entire list of the 2013 coaching changes. There were basically 30 D1 head coaching changes that year. And of the coaches hired that year, 14 were head coaches going to another head coaching job. 12 were offensive coordinators and or offensive coaches, either line coaches or NFL, a couple of guys coming back. 4 were on the defensive side. 4 were on the defensive side of the ball. Think about that. Only 4 guys who were defensive coordinators were hired to become a head coach college football in 2013. Interesting. So you can say Sonny Dykes had already taken the Cal job at that point. That's true. It's true. And you were getting into the cycle in December, which now sounds, not too late. But Tech hired Chris Beard after he took John for a week. Michael, then he was never the head coach. That's the answer. Mm-hmm. Alan, Chad Morris would have made Jerry Moore look like Bear Bryant. Jerry Moore's in the College Football Hall of Fame. And Craig says the talking box is on. So we get you guys going tonight on the comment line. What if Cliff Kingsbury is never the head coach at Texas Tech? What happens? So Cliff says, Cliff, are you Cliff? Fake Natalie Mays, no Cliff, no Holmes. Why did Mahomes settle on Texas Tech? There were multiple components going on. What was it? What were the reasons? I don't think it's easy to say that if there's no Cliff as head coach, there's no Mahomes. Mahomes had to, wanted to, demanded to go somewhere where he could play both baseball and football. There weren't a whole lot of programs. It's easy to think today that everybody was recruiting Patrick Mahomes to come play quarterback. That's just not the case. He wasn't a 5-star recruit. He wasn't a 4-star recruit. And he wanted to play baseball. And he had Tim Tadlock saying, yeah, all right, we can do that. Yeah. He had a football coaching staff saying, yeah, we'll do that. It might be a trick question. In fact, every question is a trick question, depending on who you ask. So it's really easy to say with no Cliff, there's no Mahomes. But I would posit another answer. Craig says Sonny probably wouldn't have taken the Tech job anyway because it would have constantly be compared to his dad and wouldn't be able to get out of his shadow. I'm not going to speak for Sonny. That wouldn't be the reason. He would have taken the job. He took the Cal job because he he had to take a head coaching job coming out of La Tech. Not had to, but you offer a head coaching job, you take it. So he goes knowing that Cal's not a great fit. He goes and takes the job, and it was a horrible career decision. Missouri was in play a little bit at that time, but I promise you, had Tech wanted to go that way, and I think it's fair to say, I think I'm okay saying this, that had Tech offered at that time, yeah, you could have had Sonny Dykes. I'm saying that's a great, perfect world hire, and you go win 3 national championships. I'm saying to say he wouldn't have taken that, Craig, is wrong. You know, it's just not completely true. If Kirby had his way, Jim Leavitt would have been hired. It was too early for Leavitt. And Kirby Hocutt didn't hire Cliff Kingsbury. Ken Hance hired Cliff Kingsbury. So we go back in the idea, what would have been different? What would have been different? How different is the trajectory of Tech football if Cliff Kingsbury, and here's why we're talking about this, because I said, and I believe rightfully so, that Cliff has the job today he should have had in 2014. He should have been in 2014 an NFL offensive coordinator coming off a run at Texas A&M after Johnny Manziel with 3 NFL offensive linemen and great talent, and then maybe being an OC at Texas Tech, and that's where we're going to get into next, and then going to the NFL where he's much better suited. But the NFL wasn't completely ready for him, and it took Sean McVay's success in Los Angeles getting to a Super Bowl to allow Cliff Kingsbury to all of a sudden become the new hot girlfriend out there that they just had to have in Arizona and all that. So I've deliberately, and Michael said it's a trick question. It's not a trick question. But what if Cliff Kingsbury is at Texas Tech, not as the head coach in 2013-14, but as an OC? That you hire another coach, take your pick out of all the ones that are out there that year, and he brings in, and Texas Tech pays to bring in Cliff as the OC, because Cliff was smart. He was getting out of A&M. He knew the drop down in talent, Sumlin, and everything else. He was smarter than hell. He knew he had to get out of there. That it was not replicable. You couldn't replicate it. Duplicate it? What the hell? He was smart. And then at 34 years old, he was also like, hold on, you're offering me a head freaking coaching job? I'm not ready. I don't know anybody who can come in on my staff. I have no coaching connections, but he does it. So I say to you, what if he's not the head coach, but what if he's the offensive coordinator? Cliff is the quarterback whisperer. He knows talent. Abilene Wiley's Case Keenum, Kerrville, Tivy, Manziel. He didn't have anything to do with Manziel coming in there. All that. So he gets a little bit more credit than he should on quarterbacks. And you could also say, did he develop? What did they do? Kyler Murray looks better without Cliff Kingsbury in the NFL. That's a dangerous road to go down there on the quarterback whisperer. And there are many people that say he didn't maximize, and we know why. He didn't maximize Patrick Mahomes. He didn't make Mahomes in anything that when he got to the NFL that he learned from Andy Reid. You know? If he wasn't the head coach, do we have the Duffy, Stidham, Bowman, Carter nightmare? Maybe, maybe not. Try to get him in. He says, bet not. See, does Bryles or Holgerson take it if not Cliff? No. Bryles was never going to happen at that time. It just wasn't going to happen. I've told you guys this for 15 years or so. I don't know what else to tell you. It wasn't going to happen. You know? If Bryles, does he avoid the rape culture reputation? It wasn't going to happen. Reckham, he is not the whisperer, hence the quarterback names above. Okay. So, but let's go back to an idea of, I think it could have been in an alternate universe entirely possible that you hire another coach. What if you hired Ruffin McNeil that year? Was he at ECU? What if you money whipped that? We're looking at Chad Morris. No, it doesn't have to be Chad Morris. Let me go back to who was out there. Hold on a second. I click over here and click back to this. Well, let's coaches who were hired that year. Brett Bielema, don't want him. Brian Harsin, Texas co-offensive coordinator, goes to Arkansas State. Auburn hires Gus Malzahn. You probably can't get him from Arkansas State there. Sonny goes from Louisiana Tech to replace Jeff Tedford. Butch Jones at Cincinnati. Who replaced Butch? Oh, yeah, Tommy Tuberville. You know? You got Mark Stoops, Florida State defensive coordinator, going to Kentucky. You could have made that hire. You could have battled Kentucky at the time, replacing the legendary Joker Phillips, Skip Holtz from South Florida to Louisiana Tech. I mean, whatever. You want to do that. Skip Holtz at the time, not toxic. Let's see. Dave Doreen goes to NC State. How about that? Back there, replacing Tom O'Brien. Northern Illinois, Rod Carey. Mark Helfrich. Willie Taggart. Anybody remember Willie Taggart? Western Kentucky head coach. Going to South Florida. Syracuse got rid of Doug Marrone and hired. Anybody remember who they hired? Scott Schaefer. You could have hired. Now, how about this? Temple hires in the same year Matt Rule. Oh, who else got hired that year? Matt Wells, replacing Gary Anderson. Bobby Petrino goes to Western Kentucky. PJ Fleck goes to Western Michigan. Think about that. PJ Fleck rowing the boat from Buccaneers wide receiver coach, replacing Bill Cubit. And at Wisconsin, it was Gary Anderson that totally flamed out. So those are the coaches I mentioned that 14 of them were head coaches, 12 new coaches that year, offensive coordinators are offensive coaches, 4 defensive guys. There were dudes out there. There's always dudes out there that you hire and don't hire. So it could have been really interesting to say, all right, we're going to hire this guy. We're going to hire Stoops, whatever. Just say Stoops. But we want to bring home Cliff Kingsbury as offensive coordinator for $300,000 a year, and he'd jump at that. All right, let's see. Yeah, Matt Wells coming off a 10-3 season at Utah State. No, he wasn't coming off. He was going in. Regardless of what happened during his tenure, it was nice to have Kingsbury back. Wish it would have went better for him. Yeah, well, I think everybody wishes that, whether you like him, don't like him, or anything else. Tuberville screwed you by leaving when he did. I think Sonny would have come to Tech if he hadn't already committed to Cal. I think you probably could have had him if you'd made an offer. But that wasn't what they wanted. Remember, Ken Hance hired Cliff Kingsbury. All right? Just Ken Hance hired Cliff Kingsbury. You guys can blame Kirby Hocutt for a lot of things, but not the Cliff Kingsbury hire. Cormac McCarthy said, you never know what's worse luck. Your bad luck saved you from, and I think it applies to Cliff. Robert C. When did OU promote Riley to head coach? Seems like they made that move to lock him in before the other head coaching jobs opened up. Okay, so they move him up because Bob Stoops is going to have the NCAA crawling around, the feds crawling around over everything from Joe Mixon to everything you can imagine. And they basically made a deal and said, all right, we'll get rid of Bob Stoops. You guys don't come down on us. And they promote Lincoln Riley. Bob Stoops was about to be in NFL or in college football jail. It had nothing to do with them worried about Lincoln Riley taking another job. It had everything to do with trying to end the internal investigations and otherwise at Oklahoma. And if David Collier is watching, he'll be the first to say, I'm right, even if he doesn't like it. Or does Kirby convince? No, it wasn't Kirby. Again, Kirby didn't make this hire. Kirby's been on the job for about half a minute. He didn't make this hire. Doesn't happen. Tech could have money whipped Bronco Mendenhall away from BYU at the time. But Bronco Mendenhall wasn't Bronco Mendenhall at that time. Ken fired Leach. Leach fired Leach. Yes, he did. So let's all go back and say, okay, Cliff Kingsbury's never the head coach at Texas Tech. I think he could have absolutely possibly been the offensive coordinator in that cycle. But even if he's not, you still might get Patrick Mahomes because they weren't beating the door down around the state of Texas to get Mahomes. And he wanted to play baseball. Tim Tadlock should get as much credit for Mahomes coming to Texas Tech as anything. So let's say you don't get Mahomes. All right? Let's say you don't get Mahomes. You probably have a similar record during that time. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. The biggest thing you get or don't get if you don't get Mahomes is not what happened on the field. It's what happened off the field after he left, went to Kansas City, and became Patrick Mahomes. So we sit here today and we go, without Patrick Mahomes, do you have Adidas? You might not. You certainly would not probably have Adidas with the same tie-in that you have with Patrick Mahomes. You might be an Adidas school, you might be a Nike school, you might be anything. A guy could walk around a stadium with a hot dog. So I ask you again, you tell me, what would be the biggest change, in your opinion, over the trajectory of Texas Tech football if Cliff Kingsbury doesn't become the head coach? Now, for Cliff, I think it retarded his career. It stalled it out. He would have been much better having been an offensive coordinator at a Big 12 level program, Tech or otherwise, A&M for a few more years, and then go to the NFL as a quarterbacks coach. Probably first off, I say, that he could have gone as an OC. He probably goes as a quarterback coach for a couple of years. And he's back in an NFL room, and by 2015 or 16, he's an OC. And his path to a head coaching job at that point is accelerated much more beyond Eric Bieniemy holding a clipboard in Kansas City, and everybody wondering every year, why isn't Eric Bieniemy getting jobs? Look at what Cliff Kingsbury's doing in this offense, and look at what Eric Bieniemy has done away from Andy Reid with the Redskins, pardon me, the Commodores, and now look at him. What is it, UCLA? Cliff's trajectory would have been 10 times better if he doesn't take the head coaching job at Tech. But you know what? They offer the job, you take it. Now, see, Robert says without Cliff Kingsbury, no Patrick Mahomes. I disagree. I think you could have got him here. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. But I don't just sit there and say that Kingsbury is the reason, 100%, that he came here. You can't make that case given back looking what Mahomes' opportunities were at the time and what Tech was willing to do, baseball or otherwise. Now, maybe another head coach doesn't say, well, you can play baseball too. I don't know. But you can't just flat out say that the reason Mahomes ended up at Tech was Cliff Kingsbury. That's just not true. That's not factual. Does Mahomes just stick with baseball at Tech? I don't know. After Tadlock watched him pitch one time, he probably encouraged him that his future success was on the football field and maybe not on the diamond. ERA infinity. Craig, no Cliff, then does Baker Mayfield come and even possibly stay at Tech? Don't know. Don't know about Mayfield. Maybe, maybe not. Do you want him to stay? Again, we look at it from the standpoint of what the hire might have been. I throw Stoops in there just because that's a guy you could have had in the cycle. I think the easiest way would have been you steal Ruffin back somehow. You get Cliff in as an OC. But from a wins-loss standpoint, if there's no Kingsbury at Tech, I don't think it really changes anything fundamentally. because either the other guy loses at the same rate and you make the same decision a couple of years later, or he wins and establishes a little higher benchmark or otherwise, and maybe there's no Matt Wells at the time or anything else, and you're pushing things down a year or two. I think the biggest question, and my friend Robert Christopher right there, I think the biggest question becomes, again, the Mahomes question and impact. That do you believe Mahomes could have been here otherwise? If there's no Mahomes here, how does that affect the program here in 2024? I mean, of all the things we discuss, Mahomes' biggest impact was not at Texas Tech on the field. It was 100%, and has been 100% everything he's done since he left Texas Tech. Ascending to the face of the NFL, being in Kansas City, you have your marketing program up there, get the double T on the ribbon board. They show it on TV sometimes. All the things he does, the face of the NFL, Adidas, everything else. That do you, and it comes down to this on the alt history. Do you believe that would have happened with Cliff Kingsbury and only with Cliff Kingsbury, or could that have happened without him as head coach, maybe Cliff as an OC, or just any other coach? In a baseball program that was willing to give him a shot. That's how you have to answer that question. Because beyond that, the Cliff Kingsbury era holds really nothing in the history of Texas Tech football that matters. Oh, here you go. What if Wes Welker doesn't fall into Tech's lap, even with KK here as quarterback? Does Leach get a second contract with Tech? Does the air raid take off at Tech? Does the Leach coaching tree involve Tech X's? He's asking a variety of questions that we will elucidate upon at a further time, because tonight we are sadly looking at a clock that is ticking close to zero. But what if Wes Welker just goes and plays soccer at some little nondescript school in North Texas? Oh, how things could have been different. All right, so somebody on the site was asking about Micah Hudson and transferring or whatever. All right, here's the deal. Who's at a risk to transfer? Everybody on your team right now. Don Williams has documented this much better than I can, and I don't know how I can say any better than him. But Micah Hudson ain't ready to contribute. And he does not come in at the same level that Michael Crabtree came in, not from a talent standpoint, from a health standpoint, a rep standpoint, and being ready to play college football. Now, why did we think Micah Hudson was going to do all these things? Because Texas Tech said he was going to do all these things. Because Joey McGuire all summer gave every indication that day one, Micah Hudson starting, he's going to be out there. He gets the Patrick Mahomes, Adidas, scholarship, all that stuff. So people are like, well, what the hell? Well, I've seen Mike Hudson out there, and Mike Hudson ain't ready to play college football this year at a high level. Zero separation for the most part. He has had no reps in the spring, did not get cleared for any sort of football activities towards the fall. Now, we sit there and think, okay, well, if he's so good, doesn't matter. Well, it still matters. And I agree with Joey McGuire, with guys like Kelly and some other players. If he's not there, who do you take off the field? Well, you should play him anyways. He's Mike Hudson. He can leave. Yeah, he could. He could have a great year and leave. He could go to Winter Schnitzel and get 6 chili cheese dogs for $5 and think, that's a screw job. I'm out of here. That's not why you play him, The bottom line is he's just not good enough yet to be out there to take the place of the guys you got out there. Bottom line. And I've not seen anything that I would place value on from the Micah Hudson camp. Everybody's got a camp now. You got a camp. You got people. But let me say this: if he wakes up tomorrow, says, "By gosh, I'm out of here," good luck. Now, I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that's going to happen at all. But that's totally 100% my philosophy anymore with college players because they have the ability to do it much more than NFL players who are under contract. I can't wake up every day and recruit you back onto this team. All right. You want to be here, you can be here. You don't want to be here, I'll find somebody who will enjoy the deal. And quite frankly, at the receiver position, of all the position, yeah, I mean, if he were like this 5-star offensive lineman or whatever, and I'm not saying he's that way. I'm not saying it. I'm just saying in general, green, white checker. Thank you very much. Something's going on in the kitchen. Supa is ready. Yeah. You can't function that way until things change in college football, until things change the way we operate. I can't worry about who might get upset, no matter how highly regarded we think they are or otherwise. But I think Micah Hudson's going to be a great receiver at Texas Tech. I think he's getting better. I think he's going to get more opportunities. And I fully expect him to play a big role or a larger role as the year goes on, as he gets better. And in the future, I expect him to play a bigger role then. And if not, there we go. Jan, if you were there the day Patrick pitched for Tech, you're grateful he went back to football. He had some location problems that day. You know, he had some location problems that day on the mound. That one day on the mound. Chris, you cannot make in-game coaching decisions based on fear of the transfer portal. No, you can't. Air-fried steak bites and roasted taters. That sounds good. I hope I get to have some of that. Kind of disappointed Collier didn't show up. You know? Hey, thanks to Robert C. He gave us the what if topic. We might make this a weekly what if type deal if you guys kind of enjoy this kind of thing. I'm into alt history, U.S. history, you name it, alt stuff on that. It's really interesting to me how something can turn on a dime, or really probably like a nickel. A dime's really small, but a nickel or something, or maybe cigar bands wrapped around General Order 608, something like that. The Civil War, whatever that could be, you know. So if you guys kind of enjoy wild thing, if you enjoy the what ifs, I might throw a what if out there every week. If you kind of like it, hope you do. I'm going to ask you to do one thing for me tonight. Share this. Invite people in to enjoy what we do here in Raiderland, theraiderland.com. Put it on Facebook. Put it on YouTube, and put it on Twitter and whatever. We'll be back with you tomorrow. And guys, get ready. Huge comments tomorrow on the website, theraiderland.com. One of the most comments we've ever had, because I'm going to ask you what we do on Friday, the most Texan thing you have done this week. You tell me the most Texan thing you have done this week, and you put that out there on the website. You launch it into the internet, and we go from there. All right, been a lot of fun. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll see you tomorrow morning. And we will have a prediction show tomorrow for Tech in Cincinnati. Hard to gin up any hate for Cincinnati other than what they do for Chile, I guess. But we'll come up with something. We'll see you then. Thanks for watching, theraiderland.com.